Alrighty, so I'm just setting up and getting ready for Apocalypse for actually tomorrow. As you can see, this is the Great Swarm. What is it? 9,000 points. It's taken me a year to paint. We've got my two teammates. We've got Mike, and my brother Nick. Just taking him through deployment and all that. So I'll just take you through the list. So we go Big Harridan, Titan, another Harridan here. Big guy there. Alright. Now we've got Swarm Lord. So this is the big HQ thing, the Swarm Lord, the Hive Tyrant, whatever the HQ formation is. 5 Tervagons. 1, 2, 3, 4, and where we got? Another one over there. 5. While we're here, we've got the Tyranids, 9 Biovores, 3 Warriors. Alright, pipe down, guys. Pipe down. Whole bunch of Gargoyles, some Devil Gaunts, Doom, Raveners, Gene Stealers, Lictors, Hive Tyrant, not Hive Tyrant, Arcanifix, Morlocks and Hive Trigon Prime. Zoom back out. Now we got 3 flying Hive Tyrants, one for Scything Talon, and you've seen my 2 guys here. So that's it. So we're getting everything ready for tomorrow. Yep, we're going to pack all this shit up and hopefully win the Apocalypse tournament. Cool. Alright, so game 1 of the Apocalypse tournament, we've got Tristan and Jared. So there's Jared and there's Tristan.
Hello! And we've true Scottish.
Yeah, oh, that's right. They're wearing their kilts. Very nice. Alright, and so they're bringing Tau, Space Marines, and Imperial Guard. Not much deployed, actually.
I was proven wrong.
Against our Nids. There's the setup with the time-lapse camera. My brother Nick. And here's the Nids. Now, we have a lot of them reserved. Watch out, Mike. So this is the Air Force that's coming in.
Sorry. I told you.
No, it's all good. And our reserves all down there, all the deep striking goodness. Alright, let's go. Alright, so Apocalypse. And we are versing Imperial Guard, Space Marine, and some Tau, I believe? Yes, and Tau. I've said this quite a few times, and you can see it, especially like when I was playing like an Anzac Cup, for example. I love playing Imperial Guard, against Imperial Guard that is, especially with Tyranids. I probably, like everyone who plays Tyranids, has seen and watched Starship Troopers 10 times? I don't know. Many times. And I just love it, you know. Bugs versus humans. And I love when the bugs win, as you can imagine. So this Apocalypse tournament actually is the thing that we've been kind of building up for the last year. It's why I've been painting all my stuff like a crazy man. I take, you know, different lists to every Apocalypse to every tournament because I want to paint some new things. Anyway, onto the game. So objectives, you can see kind of what I'm doing here for my Divine Intervention. So if you haven't read the Apocalypse rulebooks, Tyranids have an awesome Divine Intervention, which is if you get, so you can see the deployment zone here, you have to put an objective there. If you get within 6 inches, so when I say 6, 3 HQs, when they get within 6 inches of a objective in the opponent's deployment zone, then you can call your Divine Intervention the next turn. And that's pretty much what we did here. And when the Divine Intervention, what that gives is the entire army gets preferred enemy, counter attack, can run and then shoot, and can move, run, shoot, and assault. It's really, really, really good. The way I can guarantee it is so in this case here, I deep struck my 3 flying hive tyrants nearby that objective. I can then, you know, boost them a little bit, and then throw a shield generator to make sure that they're not dying. Yes, ah, okay. Sorry, okay, my daughter makes a cameo appearance. Yeah, so I mean that's a really, really good divine intervention, and that's pretty much the game plan. It's get that, push forward, do a blind barrage right through the middle, and it worked really well. I mean, I don't want to spoil how it ended at the end, but all 3 games, because there's only 3 games in this tournament, all 3 games we did really, really well with just that tactic of getting divine intervention off turn 2, which we did every game, and then hope that turn 2 is a real tough one for our opponents. Alright, this is after our turn 1, and they've just deployed now on their turn 2. Their turn 1, sorry. We've got lots of deep striking guys. In back.
Have you changed your vehicles for faces and stuff?
Now look at this. All the flyers. Tyranids. We've got some shield generator lobbing over there. They can't be targeted. Got a blind barrage along here. Lots of pain. So that's the plan. Getting that turn to hotness, I guess. In this one, I wanted to cripple the tower a little bit, so I specifically targeted all the sky rays. But really, I wasn't too scared, I guess, because my hive tyrants had shield generator, and the shield generator actually covered my what's it called, the big guy, the bio titan, which means that none of those 4 guys could be targeted next turn in shooting. My 2 Harridans, they're both deep struck and got the hit. They cause a bit of damage, and in general the Tyranids move forward. I made a little mistake here. I forgot that you can't charge turn 1 on the top of turn 1. When I say I forgot, I mean it didn't change the game too much, because I killed 1 small squad of what's it called, the stealth suits. But when I say I forgot, because Apocalypse changes a few of the things, like deep striking guys come in turn 1. You can do a whole bunch of stuff in turn 1 that you can't normally do, and you can even call an all-out attack on turn 1. Which is what I did with the big guy. Move him 36 inches, and then he charged and killed a stealth squad. So that was the only mistake, actually, I think, in the entire tournament in terms of illegal things I could do. So very sorry to my opponents. I could not kill 1 small 3-man squad of stealth suits. Anyway, they were playing, as you saw, a air-heavy army, and they couldn't actually get all their flyers on in turn 1, because there's not, like, they physically couldn't get the room, or at least where they wanted the guys in. And so the general game plan for all 3 games actually was kind of have waves. So my initial deployment, you can see 4 Turvagons, my HQ squad and all that, they would be the objective cappers. I needed them to survive, say, 3 turns. Then I've got my middle wave, which is the flyers, deep striking stuff, all that type of stuff. They push out, they get, you know, divine intervention, they kind of hold the midfield and clear it out for the back wave. Then I've got the deep striking wave, which has got the Morlocks and all that stuff, all the Termagants popping out of pods and all that type of stuff. They are the disruption wave. They are to land near objectives, to contest them, or even cap them. You can't really contest in Apocalypse, but to cap them and to cause damage. And then turn 2, the Gene Stealers with their formation, they pop up and they land all on the objectives and all that type of stuff. So again, I'm really trying to hold, in every game I'm trying to hold about 4 objectives to their 1, because of the way they play it. Every turn is a break, so end of turn 1 counts as a break, end of turn 2 counts as a break. So the objective scores rack up really quickly. By turn 2, we're I think 10 points ahead of them, and that's actually when, just because there was a bit of a stuff up in the beginning and we started late because the manager, he was sick, and so even though we were meant to be starting, I think we're starting at 8 o'clock. We didn't actually start till about 10:30. One of the other things, just in terms of my technology here, you've got. I'm happy that I can capture so much of the table. This is 3 tables, 3 6x4 tables, and I'm capturing pretty much the whole amount. Sitting my tripod up on the table, and then the time lapse camera with the fish eye lens type thing. I'm just missing a little bit on the top and a little bit on the bottom, but I hope it's good for you guys. It lets me really see kind of where the objectives were and all that. So you can see the white tokens were my 3 objectives, and then they've got one, this little tree thing here right in the middle of the screen. Go down a little bit, there's a tree near my Turvagon. Then there's another objective, where is it? Somewhere else in No Man. Oh, that's No Man's Land. Oh yeah, another tree little thing here, bottom right hand corner next to this pod, the drop pod. There's another objective there, and then there's an objective right at the top here near the Harridan. So you can see, controlling the objectives, and you'll see in all the games, controlling the objectives is really the aim of every 40k game, but Apocalypse especially. And Tyranids can do it. I mean, we don't have a lot of shooting. I think they're not top tier because their shooting is not that good. And Apocalypse is a lot of shooting. But for objective capping, look at many bodies. Just look at that. Like, they did a whole round of dropping and reserves and all that, and they managed to eat through maybe half of the groups down the bottom, and then they just turn around and just eat through the rest. So they got a bit of work to do to try and win this thing. Anyway, unfortunately, they came around and they said only 2 turns, finish your last turn. So really would have loved to finish this game because I was having a lot of fun, and I think my opponents were as well. Because I, again, love playing against Guard. Bit of Space Marines, some Tower, not too much Tower, which is always a good thing. So unfortunately we only got 2 turns here, but as I said, by the end of turn 2 we were over 10 points ahead of them, and even if we had continued on, it wouldn't have happened. Yeah, that's pretty. It's a bit of a downer, I know, but I still had a bit of fun, and it was a good intro to what this list can do. This type of thing, or what Tyranids can do in Apocalypse. Alright.